A lot of successful men consider themselves to be introverts, and people have different ideas of what that means. The two definitions that I see floating around, and I'm not going to make a judgment of whether which of these is right or wrong. But the first definition is that an introvert is somebody that is shy, is socially anxious, who feels anxious when talking to people, especially to new people. And then the other definition is that the introvert is somebody who gains energy from being alone, right? Who just prefers to be on his own rather than being around people because it's just more naturally enjoyable. It's not about social anxiety. And so, whichever definition you tend to use, you probably have an idea of yourself, whether you're an introvert or you're an extrovert. And if you're watching this video, then chances are you probably consider yourself an introvert, which I've considered myself an introvert at certain points. But I'm starting to come to the conclusion that the introvert extrovert distinction is kind of fake. Like it kind of actually doesn't exist, especially if you use the kind of gains energy versus loses energy definition. If you have social anxiety, if you're anxious around people, in my opinion, that's not something that is intrinsic to your being, that we act like being an introvert is something intrinsic to your being. If you have social anxiety, then that's something that is a psychological defect that frankly you should work on. And speaking as somebody who has had that myself and has worked on it quite a lot. I mean, if 10 years ago, if I had to make a video like this and put it out on the internet for people to see, it would have freaked me the heck out. Right. Well, now I'm desensitized to it. Like now I've done enough inner work and I've done the thing that I was afraid to do enough times that it doesn't bother me at all. So that's something that you should just work on. Now, for the case that, oh, you gain energy from being yourself, for being by yourself versus being with other people, well, I would submit to you that that's not true for anybody. If that's the definition, then absolutely nobody is an actual introvert because we are social animals. Human beings are designed to live in social groups and to socialize with each other. And if you don't do that, you are going to be, it's going to mess you up. It'll actually kill you psychologically if you hold it out for too much time. This is why the worst punishment when you're in prison is solitary confinement, right? This is not, or they're introverts. They're like, oh yeah, I got solitary confinement. That's exactly what I want. No, nobody likes being in solitary confinement. And think about what the alternative is too. Like what is the alternative to solitary confinement? It is hanging out with a whole bunch of criminals. So literally, being on your own is literally worse for your psychology than hanging out with a whole bunch of criminals. And that's for everybody, including the introverts. Think about that for a moment. So the truth is that there is no extrovert or introvert. There's just a balance, right? And I see this in myself, that I gain energy from being with people to some extent, and I like being alone to some extent. I don't want to be with people 100% of the time, and I don't want to be alone 100% of the time. If I'm in a big group of people for like a long time, then I start to get antsy and I want to be alone. If I start being alone for a long period of time, then I get antsy and I want to be with other people. And I don't think that I'm that special. I don't think I'm unique in this. I think that everybody else is the same way. Now, there may be variations in like what the balance is. Like if you consider yourself an introvert, maybe you want to be by yourself 80% of the time and with people 20% of the time. And maybe the extrovert is the opposite. They want to be with people 80% of the time and be by themselves 20% of the time. Right there, I couldn't believe that. But like to say that you don't gain energy from being around other people, I think it's just not true for anybody, unless, again, you have debilitating social anxiety, in which case you should probably get that fixed. And don't think that that's something that you have to live with forever. So and now a lot of successful people, and it's different than it used to be, right? So in the past, in order to get success, like, if you're a successful person, if you make a lot of money, well, where do you make that money? Like every dollar that you earn is in somebody else's pocket. So in order to make money, you have to deal with people. However, in modern society, modern technology has made it so that you can deal with people at an arm's distance, that you can set up a funnel and set up some ads, and like you can get people to pay you money without you ever actually having to talk to them. So I think we're probably in a situation now where in the past, the extroverts held all the wealth, but now the introverts are getting more and more and more wealth now because, again, the people that consider themselves this. And another thing to consider too is like the label that you have put on yourself, whether it's extrovert or introvert, are you using that as an excuse to hold you back from doing the things that would actually get you to the place that you want to be? Right? Just something to consider. But anyway, so now introverts or self-described introverts, because I'm making the case that an introvert doesn't actually exist, but the people that believe themselves to be introverts, the people who identify themselves as introverts, are are accumulating a much larger portion of money than they would have in the past. So there's a lot of guys that are running around that made a bunch of money on the internet and are just kind of stuck in their basement, and they're not very happy, right? And maybe not their basement, maybe they're in a really nice apartment, but they're by themselves, and they could rent a yacht, and that would be kind of fun, but it would be a whole lot more fun if you could actually do it with people that you like. And it's because you consider yourself an introvert or you have social anxiety or whatever, you don't want to go around to bars and just like to randomly talk to people that you don't know. It's weird and it's difficult. Probably even for extroverts, it's kind of weird and kind of difficult. So what do you do about that? Like, how do you solve this problem? Well, the first thing is to just be honest with yourself that you're not really an introvert, or maybe you're not completely an introvert at the least. Like, you need other people. You need to have a social circle. The next challenge is, okay, but who? Like, what kind of social circle? Is it just the people that you happen to run into at work, or the people you happen to run into at the gym? Or like, chances are, if you're successful, you want to be very careful about who you hang around with. You don't want to hang around with just anybody. You already know that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Like, everybody knows that that's true. So if you just hang out with your neighbors and just drink beer and watch football all day, and that's their whole life, then they're going to drag you down to their level, and you don't want that. So you don't just want to hang out with people. Ideally, you want to hang out with people that are on your level or above your level and are going to lift you up. So you want to hang out with people that are ambitious, that are motivated, that are doing things, preferably that are already successful. Although there's a lot of benefit to be gained, in my opinion, from hanging out with people that are motivated and ambitious, that will be successful but aren't there yet, right? I mean, you can imagine if you were like best friends with Elon Musk while he was still building his business and before he founded PayPal, like that would be a great position to be in. So my recommendation is that when you're curating a social circle, which I'm going to talk about how to do in just a moment, by the way, when you're curating a social circle, yes, you want people that are already successful, but you also want people that are inwardly, that have the traits to be successful, even if they're not there yet. And ideally, you want somewhat of a mix of both. And then especially if you can act as a sort of mentor to that guy that's maybe is a little younger and he has that drive, that fire inside him, but he's not successful yet, at least not financially. If you can be kind of a mentor to that guy, and then he blows up, and then, well, you're his mentor. He's going to be eternally grateful to you. And that's a very valuable relationship that you're going to hold from then on. So how do you curate a social circle? Well, the easiest, simplest, and most introvert-friendly way that I've ever figured out, and which is what I've done for myself, is to literally advertise. You run paid ads on a platform like YouTube or Facebook, and you specifically target the sort of person that you want to be your friend. So how you do that depends a little bit on the platform. I'm not going to go into that in detail, but you can target people based on their interest or based on what YouTube videos they're watching. Well, what YouTubers do you like? what aspirational content do you watch? Well, what if you could attract a social circle of people that are watching exactly the same content? And then you don't just accept everybody, you make them apply. You make them fill out an application and answer questions that will tell you about where they're at in life. So you can ask them what their income is. You can ask them what their job or their business is. You can ask them to link you to their Instagram page or their LinkedIn page. You can ask them for like what they've accomplished that they're proud of, or you can ask them about what their goals are. You can ask them about what they're doing currently to reach their goals. And that will give you a really, really good idea of, number one, are they already successful? Two, in what are they successful? And three, if they're not already successful, then what are they actually doing? Because you get a whole bunch of dreamers too, the people that they want to be successful and they know that they should have a good social circle, but they're not actually doing anything. They're just sitting around dreaming. And so when you ask them, oh, what are you proud of? They're like, oh, graduated from high school. I graduated from college. I got Employee of the Month award at Starbucks. It's like you see immediately, like this person has done nothing. And you can ask him, like, what are you doing to reach this goal that you just told me that you had? Like, I made a logo. I bought a domain on GoDaddy. You know, like that's all they've done. You really figure that out easily, as opposed to the person that's like, I'm making 50 cold calls every single day for the last 2 months. It's like, okay, that person might not have made it yet, but they've obviously got the drive. That's a big difference than, oh, I bought a domain on GoDaddy. So anyway, I've got this whole system set up and perfected for myself that I built for myself. If you would like for me to actually build out this system and build a custom curated social circle, which by the way, is not one size fits all. I build it literally to your specifications of the type of person that you want in your social circle, the type of person that you want to hang out with. And in your local area, by the way, this isn't one of those internet groups where you talk on a Slack group or a Discord group and maybe you get on Zoom calls once in a while, or maybe it's a mastermind that you meet in person once or twice a year in some vacation spot. This is not that. This is people in your local area that meet your exact specifications that you choose of the type of people that you want to hang out with. If you would like me to create that for you, then click the link in the description and you'll get the full details on that. Now, this isn't free. This is a high ticket service. I'm actually building this white glove for you. So if you're expecting this to be $100, then this ain't going to work for you, right? This is not for you, right? If this is really important to you and you're willing to invest in it and you're willing to actually make it work, I take on the vast majority of the work, but I expect to be compensated for my time. So if you're interested, click the link, get the details, and we'll talk soon.